African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command in combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation as of August 30th, 2025. Last night, the armed forces of the Russian Federation delivered a massive strike with high-precision weapons of ground, air, and sea-based platforms, as well as strike unmanned aerial vehicles on enterprises of the missile and aviation industry, as well as military airfields of Ukraine. The strike objectives were achieved, all designated targets were hit. Units of the North Group of troops inflicted damage on formations of 2 mechanized, an airborne assault, 2 assault brigades, an assault regiment of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard regiment in the areas of the settlements of Krenadovka, Kondratovka, Leninskoye, Alexievka, and Unikovka in the Sumy region. In the Kharkiv direction, damage was inflicted on units of mechanized and motorized infantry brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in the areas of the settlements of Kazakya Lopan and Volchansk in the Kharkiv region. The enemy lost up to 185 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, 7 cars, and 6 field artillery guns. A radio-electronic warfare station, a counter-battery radar station, an ammunition depot, and 4 material supply warehouses were destroyed. Units of the West Group of troops improved their tactical position. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, assault, and airmobile brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kupiansk, Bogoslavka in the Kharkiv region, Stavky, Kirovsk, and Drobashevo in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of the Armed Forces of Ukraine amounted to over 270 servicemen, 10 combat armored vehicles, including 8 of Western production, 18 cars, and 7 field artillery guns. 6 radio-electronic warfare stations and 7 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the South Group of troops occupied more advantageous lines and positions. Damage was inflicted on formations of 4 mechanized, airmobile, airborne assault, and mountain assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, a territorial defense brigade, and a National Guard brigade in the areas of the settlements of Severovsk, Janovka, Berstok, Svyatopokrovskoye, Reznikovka, and Konstantinovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost over 200 servicemen, 2 combat armored vehicles, 9 cars, and 5 field artillery guns. 2 ammunition depots and 3 material supply warehouses were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of troops improved their position along the front line. Damage was inflicted on personnel and equipment of 2 mechanized, infantry, 2 assault, 2 airborne assault brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 2 territorial defense brigades, and a Marine brigade in the areas of the settlements of Krasnoarmysk, Dmitrov, Rodinskoye, and Udaknoye in the Donetsk People's Republic. Losses of Ukrainian armed formations amounted to up to 405 servicemen, a tank, 5 combat armored vehicles including the US-made M113 armored personnel carrier, 6 cars, and 3 artillery guns. Units of the East Troop Group liberated the settlement of Kamyshavaka in the Donetsk People's Republic as a result of offensive actions. Damage inflicted on the formations of the Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the Marine Brigade, and 2 territorial defense brigades in the areas of the settlements Malomykhailovka, Vorono, and Sosnovka in the Dnipropetrovsk region. The enemy lost over 250 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 6 cars, and 6 field artillery guns, including 2 of Western production. A warehouse of material resources was destroyed. Units of the Dnieper Troop Group inflicted damage on the personnel and equipment of mechanized, mountain assault brigades, 2 coastal defense brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and a territorial defense brigade in the areas of the settlements Novoandrievka in the Zaporizhia region, Chervony Yar, Nikolskoye, and Antonovka in the Kherson region. The Armed Forces of Ukraine lost over 80 servicemen, 13 vehicles, and an artillery gun. 3 electronic warfare stations, 5 ammunition depots, and 2 warehouses of material resources were destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, strike unmanned aerial vehicles, missile troops, and artillery of the Russian armed forces troop groups inflicted damage on ammunition depots, UAV storage sites, as well as temporary deployment points of Ukrainian armed formations and foreign mercenaries in 152 areas. Air defense means shooting down a guided aerial bomb for long-range guided Neptune missiles and 233 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, destroyed 666 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 80,600 unmanned aerial vehicles, 625 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,878 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,588 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 29,088 field artillery guns and mortars, 40,681 units of special military automotive equipment. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.